Good morning students. So today I am going to start a new chapter, so that is locomotion and movement. Okay. So all of you know that movement is one of the significant feature of living things. If there is no movement, then the living organism they cannot move the different parts of the organs of the body, and also they cannot move from one place to another place, because there is requirement to move from one place to another place either in search of the food, or to protect from the predator, or to get the proper shelter or the proper climatic conditions. So the movements, that is an important requirement of body of any living organisms. Okay. Plant and animals, they show movement. Movement, so that is seen in the plant and also in the animals. But what is the difference? In the animals, you can see they are actually moving from one place to another place. They are also moving the different body parts, and as well as they are having the ability to move from one place to another place, and that is called locomotion. Whereas in case of the plants, only you can see that they are changing they may change the direction. Like for example, suppose you take one seed. When the seed is germinating, then the root is always developing towards the gravity. When the shoot is growing, then it is always developing away from the gravity. So that is called movement. Literally, they are not moving from one place to another place, because the plants, they are fixed to one particular place with the help of the roots. So they can show movement, but the plants, they are not showing locomotion. Whereas the movement and the locomotion, both you can see in animals. So that is the difference between movement and locomotion. For example, suppose you take the streaming of protoplasm in amoeba. If you see the cytoplasm or the protoplasm under microscope, electron microscope, then you can see that the protoplasm, that is also constantly moving, and that movement, so that is called streaming of protoplasm. For example, suppose you take amoeba. The amoebas of the body, so that is composed of one single cell, and inside the plasma membrane, the protoplasm which is present, so that is also moving. So how the amoeba, so that is moving from one place to another place, so that is with the help of pseudopodia. And how there is formation of the pseudopodia? So that is by the movement of protoplasm. Okay? So that is called streaming movement of protoplasm. Then there are many simple and the primitive organisms. For example, suppose you take the hydra or the paramecium. They are the movement that is possible with the help of cilia, flagella and tentacles. For example, suppose you take hydra. Now in the hydra surrounding the oral or the mouth part, there are long finger-like projections are there which are called tentacles. Similarly, the cilia, I have already explained to you in cell chapter what is the difference between the cilia and the flagella. Cilia are fine protoplasmic extension, and whereas the flagella, these are a little bit wider, but both are thread-like structure which are developing from the outer surface of the body. So the cilia and the flagella, the cilia, for example, suppose you take the paramecium. Now in the paramecium, the cilia is responsible for locomotion also, and also it is helping for capturing the food. Similarly, the flagella, which are less in number, they are also helping locomotion. For example, by bacteria, in the bacteria the body is surrounded by flagella, and the flagella is also helping with the locomotion, the movement of organism from one place to another place. Similarly, the tentacles, they are also moving, and they are also helping in capturing the. So cilia and the flagella both are locomotory structure. Cilia, these are all the fine projections. The length is also smaller in comparison to flagella, and the number is also many, because generally all over the body surface of the organism you can see there are many cilia they are present. So the cilia, for example, in the paramecium, it is helping to catch the food also, and also it is helping in locomotion. Whereas the flagella, for example, suppose you take the bacteria, then the flagella, the number is either 1 or 2, and generally it is present in one side of the body of the organism, and it is helping in locomotion. So that is the difference between cilia and the flagella. And for example, suppose you take hydra, then in the hydra surrounding the mouth, there are many tentacles are there. So tentacles are also long thread-like structure which is mainly helping to capture the food. So what is the purpose of movement? Why the organism they are moving? So they are moving either in search of food, they are searching the food, or they are reduce, they are moving from one place to another place, or if the climatic conditions, so that is unfavorable, unsuitable, then also they are moving from one to another place. So these are all the different purpose of organism moving from one place to another place. Now what are the different types of movement? One is the amoeboid, second is the ciliary, third is muscular. Amoeboid movement, the good example is amoeba. So this is an amoeba. Okay. So the amoeba, the body, so that is composed of only one single cell, and the plasmalemma that is surrounding the protoplasm. This is protoplasm. Amoeba lives in water. So if there is food in front of amoeba, then you can see that the plasma membrane, so that is developing in that particular surrounding. Suppose this is the food value. This is food. Then you can see that the plasma membrane, so that is making a outgrowth, and the protoplasm will migrate. Because you know that inside the cell of the protoplasm, it is having a streaming movement. It is constantly moving at a very slow rate. So there is movement of protoplasm to this outgrowth, and now this is called pseudopodia. Then gradually you can see that this pseudopodia, now it can grow and it can encircle the food. Then ultimately when it is joining together, then the food, so that comes into protoplasm. So this kind of a movement is called amoeboid movement. Then the second one is ciliary movement. For example, the common example is the paramecium. The paramecium, the body is surrounded by cilia, and these cilia, they are beating in a coordinated way. They are not beating separately. The flagella can beat independently, whereas the cilia, when they are beating, then they are beating together. And by the beating movement of the cilia in any particular direction, the organism is moving in water or in the medium. Then the third one, the muscular movement. So that is possible with the help of skeletal muscle and nervous system. So nervous system is giving signal, because ultimately everything, the body, all the body parts, they are controlled by the brain. So if you want to move, then the signal is going to brain. Then the brain is giving the interpretation, the answer is again coming back to your skeletal muscles. Then the skeletal muscle is moving. So that kind of a movement, that is called muscular movement. Now the question is, what is muscle? Muscle is a specialized tissue. Now all of you know what is the difference between cell and tissue. Tissue is a group of cells, maybe the similar kind or dissimilar kind, but the function is only one. They will do the same function. Okay, and muscle, so that is of mesodermal origin. You know that initially when the embryo is developing, that the embryo, so that is just a ball which is having all similar kind of cell. But gradually when the differentiation process is operating, then the embryo, so that is divided into three distinct layers, which is called ectoderm, outermost layer, endoderm, innermost layer, this is endo, inner one, ecto, outer one, and the middle one is called meso. Okay, so the muscle is actually having mesodermal origin. It is actually developing from the mesoderm of the embryo, because the different parts of the human body or the human organ, they are developing from the different layer of the different germ layer. So the muscle, so that is of mesodermal origin. So that is the meaning. And what are the properties of muscles? The muscles are having the property of excitability, contractibility, extensibility, and elasticity. So excitability means it can be excited, because the muscles, they are under the control of the nervous system, and when the nervous system is sending the stimuli, then it is getting excited. So that is what excitability. And contractibility means they are having the capacity to contract. Contract means the size is reduced. Okay, and with the help of the contractility, only the muscles they can move, because the muscles they are connected to bone, and the bone, so that is the rigid one, strong one, it cannot move on its own because it is connected to muscle. So when the muscle is contracting, then there is a movement of the bone also. Then extensibility means it can extend. Either it can contract, the size is reduced, or when it is extending, then the size is enlarged. And elasticity means when it is extending, when you are pulling the muscles, then they are not breaking. Why? Because they are having elasticity. For example, suppose you take one rubber band. When you are pulling rubber band, then it is not breaking. Why? Because it is having the property of elasticity. So these are all the properties of muscles. Okay. Now, how many types of muscles are there in the human body? One is the skeletal muscle, second is the visceral muscle, third is the cardiac. Skeletal muscle, so that is associated with skeleton. As I told you, the skeleton, so that is a framework which is giving a particular shape to the human body. If there will be no skeleton, then the body only consists of muscles. Then you cannot stand, you cannot do any kind of movement or locomotion. So the skeleton, so that is connected to muscle, and those kind of the muscles are called skeletal muscles. So what are the properties of skeletal muscles? These are striated. Striated means you can see there is a dark band is there, again there is a light band, again there is a dark, again there is a light band. So like this you can find there are stripes are there. For example, suppose you take zebra. Now the body of the zebra, you have seen that there are black and the white lines are there. Similarly, here also in the skeletal muscle you can find out there is the dark and the light bands are there. So this is called striated or striped muscles. Another name is voluntary muscles. Why? Because these are the muscles which can be controlled by our own wish or will. अगर आप चाहते हो तो आप अपना हाथ पैर जो है आप उसको मूव करा रहे हो, अगर आपको नहीं चाहिए तो आप उसको नहीं करा रहे हो, तो ये आपका विश या आपके कंट्रोल में है, तो इस तरह के मसल्स को हम क्या बोल रहे हैं? वॉलंटरी. ओके, एंड ultimately it is controlled by the nervous system, because you know that the brain, so that is the main part of the body, that is the main organ, and the brain is controlling the rest remaining parts of the body. So ultimately it is under the, although you are controlling the muscle, but ultimately it is under the control of nervous system. And what is the function of the skeletal muscles? It is helping in the process of locomotion, moving from one place to another place. Then the second one, so that is the visceral muscle. They are also called smooth muscles. Why? Because the appearance is smooth. Here you cannot see there is no light in the dark band. So it is also called as non-striated or non-stripped muscles. And involuntary means you cannot control the muscles as per your own wish, because directly it is controlled by the nervous system. For example, suppose you take all the muscles which is there in the trachea. If you want to move, then you cannot move. So they are involuntary in nature. Okay, and they are mainly found in the internal parts of the organs. For example, suppose you take the digestive system. Now in the internal part of the digestive system, the muscles which are present, now these are the smooth muscles or the visceral muscles. And what is the function? They are helping either in the transportation of the food, if they are present in the digestive gland or the digestive system, and if they are present in any other internal parts. Then for example, suppose you take the oviduct, then it is helping in the transportation of the gametes. Then the third kind of the muscle, cardiac muscle, it is only found in heart. It is not found in any other parts of the body. There are so many parts of the human body where you can see the skeletal muscles are present. There are many internal organs where the smooth muscles are present. But cardiac muscle is only found in heart. And that is a combination of the skeletal muscle and the visceral muscle. So in the structure you can see that it is just like the skeletal muscles, and it is having the light and the dark band. So it is striated muscles. But in function, it is involuntary. We cannot control the muscles of the heart. The heart is automatically, it is beating rhythmic way. It is always beating, so it is involuntary. And these are all branched muscles. Like the skeletal muscles, so that is not branched. But here you can see these are just like having the branches. So these are branched in nature. So these are all the difference between these three types of muscles. Now we will discuss about structure of skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle is made up of a number of muscle bundles. Now here you see the diagram. Now these are all muscle bundles and it is surrounded by plasma lemma or plasma membrane. Okay. Each muscle bundle has a number of muscle fiber. Now you see inside each bundle a number of muscle fiber are there. Okay. Then each muscle fiber is surrounded by plasma membrane called sarcolemma. If you take one single muscle fiber, then it is surrounded by plasma membrane. And the plasma membrane here it is called sarcolemma. Then inside the plasma membrane there is cytoplasm because it is also just like a cell. And here the cytoplasm that is called sarcoplasm. That is not called cytoplasm but it is called sarcoplasm. And muscle fiber is syncytium. Syncytium means in the cytoplasm you can find there are many nuclei are present. So that is the meaning of syncytium. And also beside the nucleus also you can find out there are endoplasmic reticulums are there, and endoplasmic reticulum these are all the storehouse of calcium ion. So now we will discuss about the structure of one single muscle fiber which is called myofiber. So as I told you the skeletal muscle, so that is having the light and the dark band. So if you see under the microscope, now these are all the dark bands. Then alternately you can see the parallelly there is a light band is there. Then again you can see there is a dark band is there. Then again there is a light band. So like this, for example, suppose you take one single rope, and in the rope suppose one part is black, another part is white. So like this here also you can see in the muscle there is a dark band is there. Then again there is alternate light band is there. Alright. So why? Because it is made up of two different types of the protein. One is the actin, another is the myosin. So the myosin, so that is making the dark band, and the actin protein, so that is making the light band. Okay. Now in detail we will study about the structure. Now if you study the structure, then here you can see that now these are all actin filaments. Actin is a specific kind of the protein. Myosin is also another kind of the protein. So these actin filament now which are called the light band or the I band, so they are connected to a line which is called the jet line. So the jet line, so that is the elastic line. It is having elasticity. If you want to pull, then you can pull. So naturally, automatically, when the jet line is stretching, then these actin protein they also can be stretched. Okay, and these actin protein which are small. The diameter, if you take the diameter, then the diameter is thinner. Whereas in the middle part, the protein, so that is the myosin protein, and the myosin protein the diameter, so that is wider in comparison to the actin. And these are called the dark band. So these myosin proteins, these are called the A band, and the actin protein where it is present, so that is called the I band. So in the skeletal muscle you can see the actin and the myosin, they are just arranged parallelly to each other, or they are overlapping each other. Not completely fully, but partially they are overlapping each other. Okay. Then here where the actin and the myosin both are present, then this total one, so that is called A band, and the middle portion only where the myosin is present, so that is called the H band. Alright, so the actin that is connected to the jet line and it is present on either side of the jet line. Here also you see it is present on either side of the jet line. Then the actin and the myosin they are alternating with each other. And the myosin which is present in the middle part, so that part is called the H band. So here in the diagram it seems that the myosin is not connected to anything, so it is just floating. But actually it is not floating, it is also connected to a fibrous membrane. And with the help of the membrane, these all myosin they are connected to each other. And that fibrous membrane that is called M line. Okay, and this whole unit starting from this jet line to this one, that is called sarcomere. And sarcomere, so that is the functional unit of skeletal muscles. As I told you, if there is no contractibility of the skeletal muscles, then the bones they cannot move. So by the contraction of the muscle only, the bone is moving, and this is the unit which is responsible for contraction, and that unit is called sarcomere.